What is up, guys? It's the Sound Alchemist, and once again, we're back at it, answering your questions in another
For the greater.
And I forgot to introduce you to this guy.
Oh yeah, my name's Gershwan. But you guys probably already know that. This is a video series where we answer the questions left by you, the viewer. If you have a question for us, comment down below. Put a question in front of your question because we get to those questions first. And this question comes from Koto Joe. Will Isha ever be free from Grandpa Nurgle? That is a good question. For all the people that don't know, Isha is the goddess. Isha is the goddess of birth in the Eldar mythology. She, when Slaanesh was born, he or she consumed all the other Eldar Chaos gods except for Cain, Isha, and Segura. And Isha was actually captured or stolen by Nurgle, and Nurgle basically has him in his section of the warp or Immaterium as a captive. And the reason he has this Chaos God captive is because he knows that this Chaos God has the ability to heal, specifically heal the Eldar, but like just produce. Isha is a god, so she could just help out anybody that has a disease. So Nurgle's basically using her as a, what would you say, test subject?
Yeah, what he's basically doing is he's creating all these toxins and plagues and viruses, and he's trying them out on Isha first, seeing the results, if he likes all her symptoms, her convulsions and all that. And then if it works, he spreads these plagues to the material realm.
Yep.
However, since Isha already knows what these plagues do, and she can fight them off, she then whispers the cure to her Eldari. So in a way, it's like combating Nurgle, but at the same time, Nurgle's just using her as a test subject.
Yeah, because Nurgle knows that she's whispering cures to her followers or to just Eldar in general. He wants that because he constantly wants to create new things to infect.
Right.
Which is a cool way of showing the adaptation of certain infections. It is actually Nurgle who is doing it himself.
Yeah, it's really cool lore.
Now, would she ever get free? There have been theories. Some theories state that Segura, the Laughing God, which is another Eldar god that survived, he somehow was going to help free her. But that's kind of
Yeah.
And then there's other stories of how Gilliman is supposed to go and free her, because Gilliman has that same association with that Farseer. What's the Farseer's called? One with the cat.
Yeah, the Vizark.
Yeah,
I believe that's what she's called. She's got a name, but that's her title.
But then the truth is, though, I think that Games Workshop is just holding on to that story. They're not going to really let us know what's going to happen to Isha. It seems like a lot of the community, though, really has been drawn to this mythology, or the story, I should say, of the Eldar mythology. So they really should create something with Isha, especially after they created Iniad, and nothing really happened from that.
Yeah, it's what are we going to do with this new god? Nothing.
Yeah.
But my theory is that if she does get saved, it'd be really awesome to have the Silver Knight of Slaanesh reclaim her, because I guess the theory goes that Isha was about to be killed by Slaanesh, and her pleas caught the attention of Nurgle. So Nurgle stole her from Slaanesh and is using her as, like we said, all that as a test subject. However, Slaanesh has a silver champion, which we don't know who it is. Rumor has it that it could be Kaldor Drago, who has finally succumbed to chaos and is now corrupted by Slaanesh, and she's going to use basically Drago to enter the gardens of Nurgle, free Isha, so that he can once again consume the rest of the pantheon of the Eldar.
Yeah. That's going to be interesting, and that's a whole nother story that Games Workshop is holding on to, especially because Kaldor Drago, you don't hear anything from him.
Well, I mean, I guess they overpowered him so much that it's all right, let's take a break, because this dude's taking on demon Primarchs like nothing.
Yeah, he's in the warp now, though, right?
Yeah. He's stuck in there, but he can come out to real space for like a short amount of time, but then he gets drawn back.
That's the cool thing about Games Workshop or the story of 40K is that a lot of things are talked about very like vaguely, and then they're stored away, and then they come back up later on in different editions, which is what happened to the Adeptus Custodes. They weren't really talked about, and then all of a sudden, boom! Like you get your whole codex.
Yeah.
Or you can make them an entire army.
Speaking of the Adeptus Custodes, did you know that freaking Henry Cavill plays the Custodes?
Typical.
Yeah. Superman plays freaking Custodes. I could see that.
Yeah. It'd be cool if he played something like that was out of his realm, but I guess I see that. Like Superman is basically an Adeptus Custodes, or I guess even the Emperor.
Right. So it's like he's tossing coins to GW.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Next question.
This one's by StarPhyr. Is Corrin okay with internal bleeding? And what about cracked skulls? Can he use them for the throne also?
Yeah.
That's funny. Because, blood for the blood god, even if that blood is within you, does still count.
It would also kind of feed Nurgle, too, because you're slowly dying. Like, because you have internal...
hemorrhaging and all that stuff.
Yeah, you're going to eventually die. You're slowly dying, and that feeds Nurgle because of the whole entropy and, but that's the thing about the Chaos Gods. They all take in a little bit from the suffering and the emotions of humanity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so, in general, right?
Right. I mean, if you're a Chaos God, you're not going to be picky as to what skulls you get. So
no. Even though he wants the biggest bat of skulls. Next question comes from Alan Vans. Are y'all roommates? Stay safe, guys. Don't let Nurgle get you. Because they're supposed to be separated and all that kind of stuff. No, we're not roommates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't really have much of a choice if Nurgle gets us or not.
Yeah.
We just got to pray that we hear Isha's whispers.
Next question.
This one's by Tumble Track. Do you think that all of the Primarch's end time return plans refer to the same thing, or are they different events entirely? Like Leman Russ's Wolf Time and Rogel Dorn's End Time are two different things, not just alluding to the same.
That's a good question. And it seems like it's probably going to be a situation like the Horus Heresy, where the Horus Heresy was a long process, and each individual Primarch had their own little thing. Like, obviously, Vulcan was captured by Kurz and all that, like, torture happened. But then at the same time, Gilliman was over here fighting Lorgar Perturabo and what is it, Fulgrim?
Fulgrim, yeah.
So like I think like the end times does speak about the entirety of the event that's gonna happen, but like the wolf end times, and then when where the salamanders capture all the relics, that's gonna be a separate thing.
Yeah, it's like each Primarch's gonna have their own part to play in the overall end time, and that's gonna be their specific end time.
Yeah. Which is going to be cool.
Yeah. I don't think we'll ever get to that point, because that means, like, that's a conclusion to the whole, I guess, narrative aspect of 40K.
Right.
But it'd be really cool, because, in my opinion, stories are always better when they have a definitive end. I don't like ambiguity at the end of movies, because it's like, oh, well, then I want to know what's next. And yeah, it keeps people wanting more. But if that's really the end, like, you're never going to get that satisfaction of an ending. Even if it's a bad ending, I still would want a bad ending besides something, ambiguous.
Yeah. I could see Games Workshop doing that thing, though, where, like, they'll say, this is the end times, and then they get to a point, and then they go, well, no, not really. There's more end times.
So then it wasn't the end time.
Yeah, but maybe it's like humanity's end time, but it's not like 40K's end time.
And then you get to Warhammer 50K.
Yeah, maybe. Kind of like what they did with the Primaris. I feel like the Primaris, it was the end time for the old Marines, but obviously, like, Primaris continue, and, like, now the old Marines, like from regular tactical Marines all the way to, like, the Centurions, like, do you really want to play them? Like, now you want to go with the Primaris stuff, right. The new Dreadnoughts, the new...
they look better, they're slightly better, it's like...
Yeah, so if Games Workshop did it with that, then I feel like, I fear that they would do it again in the far future with an end time situation.
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about that. This next question is by Alex Pena, or is it Pena? Because there's no, what is it?
Enya.
Enya on there?
Yeah.
Why no tabletop gameplay yet, guys? I would literally sit down and watch an hour video of you guys having fun and fighting each other. Also, when are we going to get more showcase videos? It's been a while since you made one, and I'm pretty sure you've added to your own armies since then. Much love, guys. Be safe with this Rona BS.
Rona. Sounds like an actual person that we used to go to school with, who used to eat all the food at the potlucks.
Oh, I'm thinking you're thinking about La Chona, not Rona.
Do you know what La Chona actually means?
Yeah, it's like Chichona.
Yeah.
I didn't get that till like recently.
Yeah, the way that I found out was kind of awkward. For all those that don't know, this is a Mexican like song that is usually
A folk song.
It's not a folk
It's not
song,
a folk song.
but it's just like a song that like
you hear it at all the parties. It's like you
Yeah.
were born hearing it. Like
yeah. And the way that I found out what that was is that I used to work with a bunch of like older ladies, and they used to call one girl La Chona, and like it wasn't until like she didn't even know either, and then like they brought it up, and then yeah, it was just awkward because like I was surrounded by a bunch of older ladies, and they were talking about their boobs. Strange times.
the end times.
So yeah, that's the end. That's our end times.
And he survived it. So yeah, there's more after the end times, guys.
I am the Primaris version of Gersh.
He went from Gersh to Gersh 1.
Yeah, there you
It's
go.
like Space Marines to Space Marines 2.0.
That's what knowledge does to you. Knowledge is power. Hide it well.
Zeech.
So back to your question. You would watch a tabletop version of us playing, just like you probably enjoyed that little banter. But I think the majority of our viewers do not.
Right.
Unfortunately, they come here for the lore, and that's what they're here for.
Yeah.
With that said, though, what I want to start doing is getting more, creating more videos that are based around the hobby, which is why I created the terrain tutorials, which they're coming soon. I just had to put a halt on that because I haven't cleaned this room yet, and then also like the tactic ones. But I've been like brainstorming some ideas of like doing more hobby-esque videos, like Miniac, and like still kind of have like a different vibe than just like here's the lore, let me spew it at you, and no emotion behind it kind of thing. But we'll see.
Yeah. And are we gonna get a showcase of your armies anytime soon?
Probably not, because again, like there's a lot that I need to catch up on. I'm probably not going to have enough time to clean the room and then like showcase my models, because there's a lot. Not to mention that my orcs suck. I've had my orcs since I was very, very young. So the progression, like there's only like maybe 20 models that I think like, yeah, those are painted well. The rest are just shit. But they work.
Yeah. And it's like, I can tell because like the way you treat your orc army, it's like you just clump them and like just toss them in the box, and half of them are missing their arms and stuff.
Yeah.
But that's what happens when you have a horde army. It's like you can't treat every model with respect.
Right. Unless you are somebody like there's a guy we follow on Instagram. I think it's like something Emperor. He has like the most amazing looking orc army, and he just paints it like super well.
But that's like each individual one gets his like
attention. Kind of, yeah. I mean, they're all like he paints them in batch. You could tell that he paints them in batches. But yeah, but that's like a whole another subject that I want to create videos for. But we'll see.
Yeah. If you do want to look at videos like that, we do have a showcase playlist, and we have done battles and narrative tabletop battles, so check it out.
Yeah.
Definitely recommend the Kill Team one.
Yes. Next question comes from Turtle for Life. Why doesn't GW make a D&D style game? I think that would be pretty cool.
They have.
It's called Dark Heresy. I don't think it's supported anymore.
Yeah, it's like super old.
But that doesn't mean you can't play it. I got one of the Dark Heresy books, and I converted that into a D&D
session campaign.
Yeah, like kind of like a hook. But the party didn't take it. The party was just like, nah, we're just gonna ignore that completely, because like the thing about Dark Heresy is supposed to be like very mysterious, very like detective-esque, mixed in with a little bit of combat here and there. Well, a lot of combat because it's 40K. But yeah, maybe I'll run that campaign one more time for you guys and force you guys to follow the narrative. Next question.
This one's by TinMan4000. Thanks again, OMS, for answering my question. First, I really feel honored that so many of my questions are there, Any rule while making the Lost Primarch Legion? And when I finish my Lost Primarch Legion, which site is the best to introduce it? So any rules when making it, and where should he introduce it?
So when you're creating your own Lost Primarch, the only rules that you have to follow, I mean, honestly, you don't have to follow any rules. You just, kind of the same thing with building a chapter. Just don't
make it overpowered and like, yeah, I don't know. I guess the easiest rule is make it fit with the lore.
Yeah. Also, I guess another rule is you want to have a Lost Primarch that fits with the rule set of Guilliman, because like that's the only Primarch we have.
Right. That's not a demon.
Right.
Yeah.
But then even then, like it would be difficult for me to wrap my head around somebody coming up, or like you playing your Celestial Sons, and then your Primarch has the stat line of like Mortarion,
Yeah.
or Magnus the Red. That'd be kind of difficult to. Well, I mean, I guess because you could do Unbound, right?
Yeah, you could always flavor something differently. Like instead of it being a plague weapon, it's just a really mastercrafted weapon that rerolls ones or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I guess, yeah, there's not that much. Then there's no rules really that you need to follow.
Mm-hmm.
Just make sure that the stat lines that you have an actual model that GW has created, that you follow those stat lines roughly.
Right.
It doesn't mean that you have to follow each weapon and all that kind of stuff.
To the T.
Right, but then that also doesn't mean like don't make a strength 5 weapon, a strength 10 weapon.
Yeah, because then that's just like it messes with the balance. Which does 40K have balance? I mean, you're rolling die, so you could have a strength 10 weapon and miss every single time.
That's true.
So you'll never see the overpoweredness of it.
Yeah. And then as far as like where you want to put that out there, you can contact us. We'll create a video for you if it's properly like created. If not, the wiki page. The wiki page is actually the perfect place for you to post not just like things about a Lost Primarch, but your chapter just in general.
Mm-hmm.
Just remember that it's the fan version of the wiki page. Don't do that in the actual one. Yeah.
Or you could try like Bolter and Chainsword, Reddit.
I feel like Reddit would be really good for you to use to build up
Yeah.
the chapter and the Lost Primarch. Like ask questions there because you're gonna get immediate answers.
Right.
But yeah.
Maybe consult your local Catholic priest. Like go into the confessional and say, hey, how should I structure this?
Stretch it. Don't ask a priest how to stretch things. That's my advice. Next question comes from Robert Bennett. Which of the Primarchs before the Horus Heresy is the best fighter? In my opinion, it was Russ. But what do you guys think is the best fighter?
Well, Leman Russ got knocked out by a single punch by the lion.
It was a sucker punch, though.
Still, though, but if you're like... Well, I guess nobody's immune to a sucker punch.
Not really, yeah. Especially from a Primarch.
That's true.
That's like you just stood there.
It's like telling Mike Tyson to, hit you.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure even if he was with another fighter, like if it was Mike Tyson and something that's, I don't know, they would get knocked out.
Yeah. Mike Tyson against a walrus. He'd knock it out.
A walrus?
Yeah.
I don't think he can knock out a walrus.
You sure?
Yeah. They have a lot of blubber. So I saw a walrus jump off of a cliff and survive. Like you're surviving a 10-foot drop. I think you can survive a punch from
you're not just surviving. You're not getting knocked out.
Well, he didn't. Like he got back up and then he just walked with the rest of the herd. I think walruses don't understand the concept of fear. Something like that. What was the question?
What was it? Yeah, dang.
Who was the strongest fighter?
Strongest Primarch. Or fighter or Primarch?
Fighter. He said fighter. He said who was the strongest fighter. Horus. Like, I think a lot of people underestimate Horus because he dies at the... Well, spoiler alert, right?
Yeah, spoiler alert.
He dies at the end. Yeah, I think...
He doesn't just die. He gets, erased.
Yeah, from existence. That's another spoiler, right?
Yeah. But yeah...
Or Vulcan too. Vulcan was supposedly the biggest guy.
Right.
So if you guys are believers that size matters, then obviously Vulcan must have punched people. But then you have like Fulgrim, which was a master swordsman.
Right.
So would you consider a swordsman a fighter? Like in D&D, a fighter can have swords, right?
Or his fists could be the weapon. I don't know. It's weird because like, even though you know, Lehman Russ seems like a good choice. Like he lost a lot of his fights. I think he lost against Angron. He lost against Lorgar.
Well, that's because he got beat. Like he got. I think other people came after him.
Right. And I was gonna say he
got jumped.
Yeah. When you get jumped, you can't really,
Yeah.
Unless you're a walrus.
Yeah, then you can just get back up.
Because you don't feel fear. Walruses are like Space Marines.
Yeah. Well. Next question. I think we answered it, right?
Yeah, we'll go with that. The walrus, that's the best fighter.
Yeah, this is the best Primarch. Oh, wait, no, yeah, fighter. Next question. This one comes from board_dot. He asks, can Voidborn be recruited as Space Marines? There hasn't been any Space Marine chapter that does this, but yes, you definitely can. The reason for that is there's a lot of Space Marine chapters that are on Crusade, or they are crusading chapters just in general, so they don't have a home planet. Normally what they do is they have a designated planet that they return to, and the chaplains go in there and recruit from there. But you don't necessarily have to do that. You can seriously do a what is it called? An initiation ritual within the actual battle barge, and it's all the chapter serfs. So all the children of the chapter serfs, which are Voidborn at this point, then they're the ones getting recruited. But yeah,
It'd be interesting though. But I mean, it'd be kind of hard to have like a whole chapter of Voidborn Marines.
Not necessarily, because you have to remember that like there could be 1,000 recruits and only one gets through.
That's true.
So like you could say that like one recruit out of like a dozen Voidborn, brings up.
Tal vez.
Another thing too you could do is Space Hulks. Take advantage of the idea or the concept of Space Hulks. Maybe it is the chapter's mission to visit these just drifting space stations, and any human survivors there are tested, and then they become Space Marines. That would be kind of cool. But yeah, next question.
This next one is by Zero Noctis. Amigos míos, I am struggling with this idea. What if the Emperor is actually Rick, who made a look-alike and turned himself into a corpse in order to have fun across the multiverse with Morty? I mean, it could be.
Yeah, it's a very strong possibility. I don't know where the substance abuse came from, though, because the Emperor didn't have any substance abuse. He got high on his own ego, it seemed.
And genocide, really.
Yeah.
Killing the Thunder Warriors and about to kill the Space Marines and killing Xenos and killing Chaos. That's a lot. Killing me softly.
With his love. Next question. This will be the last question.
That's an interesting question. I don't even know where to begin.
It's just a little too long. It's too long for a last question. We will do... Do you have any? This one's by Elliot Figueria. How many bowls do you guys smoke before filming these? So that actually hurts your lungs. So we don't recommend you do that. It's 2020. Just take an edible, man. That's just the cool thing to do nowadays. And plus, it makes it like you have audible, and we have all types of hallucinations with it. But yeah.
Those are the questions for today.
This was Gershwan,
the Sound Alchemist, and we'll see you next time.
Always used to put my freedom first in any situation.